Then with a big 3 points last time out against Bolton. That was a really high quality game, wasn't it, Matt? Probably the game of the women's Tier 1 so far this season.
Definitely, yeah. I think it was the one where Bolton would have come into that game hoping that they could sort of stamp something all over Bloomsbury. But Bloomsbury, for me, showed their real quality there in that one and showed just how much of a threat they're going to be across the course of this season. As I say, they've recruited really well, some really experienced players like goalkeeper Alice Harkness-Armstrong, who have just added so much to them, and already well drilled, already well coached. They're going to be a team that's going to be at the forefront of this league for the foreseeable, I believe.
Yeah, Cheshire, the highlights that we saw from them there, the 2-1 win over Southampton, that was a couple of game weeks ago now. They have since been beaten 4-0 by Hartbury, but looking to bounce back today. It's a difficult ask for them, especially with 6 players, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, really difficult, but again, they're well coached. Richie Jones has been around the block. He won't mind me saying that. He's someone who's been in and around the game for a number of years, and he'll have a plan. He'll have a game plan. He's teamer experienced. They've played together for a long time, and they'll be hoping that they can just spring a surprise and frustrate Bloomsbury. I think it's a real uphill task, even turning up with 6, and just the mental defeat of standing in that tunnel at this moment in time and you having a squad of 6 and the other team's got double that. I think that'll be really tough for them to stomach, but they'll go out there and they'll give it their best, because that's what Cheshire always do.
Yeah, we saw with the league table earlier that Bloomsbury have the opportunity to go back to the top with 3 points here. That wasn't really the case for them last season. They didn't threaten the top of the table, finished 6th out of the 8 teams with just 6 points from the 7 games they played last season, but so much has changed for them over a short period of time. You mentioned that they're such a progressive and growing club. What has changed for them over the summer?
Well, I think last season was a foundational year for them as well. It was their first in the league, an opening chance for them to find their feet, to start building through the National Futsal Series. And then what you've seen is, with that recruitment and with that growth, they've really developed into a side that can replicate what the men's team are doing and going and challenging consistently for playoff places, and hopefully in their eyes and Liam Francis' eyes for league titles.
Teams are making their way out onto the court at St George's Park, with Cheshire in the navy blue and Bloomsbury in gold and black. Let's take a look at the 2 teams, starting with Cheshire. They're coached by Richie Jones. We have Libby Wright between the sticks in goal, captain Jade Davies, Tina Ellis, Emma Roden and Kerry Sampson. The only substitute, just the single sub, is Helen Can to begin with. Bloomsbury there with their pre-match rituals. They do have a full squad to be used, 12 of them in total. Alice Harkness-Armstrong, who Matt mentioned a minute ago, signed from Manchester in the summer, such an astute addition. She starts in goal as we just finish off their pre-match warm-up there. Slightly unorthodox way, but something to get them geared up for it at least. Helena Scotland, Estefi Salas, Gemma Aldrin and Paula Sanchez make up the rest of the starting lineup. The substitutes are Diana Manak, Hannah Crackman, Tessa Long, Ashley Lewis-Shodine, Chelsea Perry, Nurse Portabella and Jasmine Whitehead Shakes. The coach is Liam Francis. Your referees for this game are head referee Sophie Jackson and Ollie Rodriguez Ballinger. The timekeeper is Will Thompson. 2 captains coming together then in the centre circle. Jade Davies wearing the armband as ever for Cheshire, and Helena Scotland, the skipper for Bloomsbury. Cheshire today without Kirsty Corral, Matt, who scored so many goals for them last season in Tier 2 of the Women's FA National Futsal Series to get them promoted to Tier 1. She's not amongst their ranks, and that's another problem that they'll have to contend with.
Yeah, and I think it's a problem they'll have to contend with for the foreseeable as well. Not confirmed by anyone at the club, but there was a tweet that went out a couple of weeks ago that seemed to confirm that Kirsty Corral had retired from playing, which is a huge blow for Cheshire in regards to this season. She's a big influence on their squad and someone they'll miss, but they're an experienced team, as we say. They'll have to try and regroup. They take the kick off here, and they'll just be hoping that they can put their experience to the test and make things difficult for Bloomsbury here. It's an uphill battle, as we've said, but they'll have a game plan and they'll have a way they want to approach it.
We are underway then. Bloomsbury in possession with Cheshire, as was somewhat to be expected, dropping back to a deep lying half-court block.
I think what you will see is straight away, as we saw in the early games today, at times when teams were dropping off and slightly less experienced ones, they don't engage. Whereas straight away there you see Cheshire engaging in the halfway line, looking to go and win the ball. And it's important. There's two different types of half-court block.
It's been given away there. This is an early opportunity for Cheshire, and it's towards the second post. Oh, how's it not been turned home? A golden chance for Emma Roden as she went sliding in on the ball that was played across by Ellis. So close to the game's opener.
That would have been a hell of a start for them, wouldn't it? Really good breakaway, and Emma Roden, well, she'll be disappointed. She'll know the importance of that.
She'll wish that she had that opportunity back there, Roden. Big chance goes begging. Forward pass looking for Salas, just evades her, runs through to the goalkeeper, Libby Wright.
Straight away you see Bloomsbury looking to press high, looking to go and impose themselves. They know what they're up against here, and they know that the best way of them winning that ball back is winning that ball back early and going and taking the game to Cheshire.
Davies, the captain, takes that kick in. Receives the ball again here, just flicks it round the corner, but only to the opposite skipper, Scotland. Nice parallel pass down the line for Aldine. Aldine holding off the defender and then bringing into play Scotland. Salas back to Scotland, who's looking to dictate play from a deep line position. Salas on the end of it, just drags the shot wide.
Good opportunity, wasn't it? Showed a little bit of composure, patience in working that. It's a really good disguised ball from Scotland, and yeah, Salas needs to make a cleaner contact. Should be hitting the target. Cheshire again looking to break away here. There's not enough quality on that final pass.
Deep kick in here then for Bloomsbury, under no pressure from Cheshire, who retreat back. Aldine. Scotland. Pass down the line, parallel, looking for the run of Paula Sanchez, just too much on it, slightly overcooked. Runs into touch. Davies, well defended by Scotland, and the double ricochet just took it out off the Cheshire player there, Davies.
Yeah, unfortunate, wasn't it? And so far so good for Cheshire. You see their game plan, they're happy to let Bloomsbury have the ball in these areas, and then they're willing to go and engage and go and assert themselves and make things difficult, force those kind of passes. They'll be happy with this all the way through the game. We're 2.5 minutes in, and so far there's been half a sniff with that chance for Salas. But Cheshire have had the better opening. They won't take any risks, as you see there in possession. No chance of getting robbed of the ball. We'll just put the ball out of play, surrender possession, and look to build again. Good challenge.
Scotland robbed of possession there and then goes flying into the challenge. Whitehead shakes with a fortunate interception, was positioned in the line of the pass, and Bloomsbury have it back. Sanchez gets a second bite at it, plays the pass across to Whitehead, shakes. That's out of play for a Bloomsbury kick it. Cheshire kicking.
Slow start, wasn't it? Probably not what we've expected from Bloomsbury so far this season. They've been sort of all guns blazing, haven't they? It's the first chance for Cheshire to really get hold of the ball and get hold of possession, looking to utilise the goalkeeper 5v4. They've done well. Another set piece with the corner here.
It's an opportunity then from the corner. Cheshire player just going to retreat the ball for this to take. And treat it as a corner as the high kick in. Set up like that.
I thought it was a corner. So oh, lovely turn.
Whitehead shakes there, remonstrating with the referee, but the decision goes against her, and we will restart from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Kerry Sampson did well just to step across and cover whichever way that would have gone. I think one or the other would have been frustrated, so good from Harkness that.
Yeah, Harkness Armstrong was out really quickly there to come and clear the danger. She has the ball in her hands now. We've played nearly 4 minutes, still goalless. The best opportunity of the game so far came for Cheshire, and Roden with that opportunity when she desperately tried to latch onto the pass across from Ellis.
They're trying to play though, aren't they, Cheshire? Full credit to them. It's hard work when you've got a small squad like this, but they're trying to keep the game at the right sort of tempo for them and slow it down and play in the right areas.
Libby Wright takes a position momentarily inside the attacking half, had to retreat back to control, which she is allowed to do, and the kick in there is Cheshire's.
Yeah, pull ball out to her, put her under pressure immediately, and she did well to win something from it, to be honest. Have to be better quality on those passes when you do go 5v4.
Bloomsbury with the ball through Whitehead shakes and back now to Salas. A whole host of Bloomsbury substitutes waiting in the wings, and we'll see those changes very shortly. Oh, excellent footwork, managed to wriggle her way through there and wins the corner for Cheshire.
Yeah, Davies did well, didn't she? We've seen it 2 or 3 times. Davies and Roden are quite happy to go and engage 1v1. And at the minute, you have to feel Cheshire have been the better side, haven't they? Lovely corner.
Yeah, looking to work the three in the line there, Cheshire, who are asking the questions of the Bloomsbury defence, despite the way in which they've set up defensively when out of possession. Kick in for Richie Jones' side, right in front of the dugout.
Again, immediately bringing Libby Wright out as that option.
They're very happy to play with her feet, and always offers herself as that pass, doesn't she, the goalkeeper Wright? But
I think it's important as well. They have to break pressure every single time on them, because they don't want to be forced back down the court. They want to make Bloomsbury drop in and try and play as much of the game as possible in Bloomsbury's half. That's what they've done really well so far. You've seen their experience. Any loose pass, anything like that, just letting the ball run out of play, happy to reset.
Might open up for the shooting chance here. There's no pressure on the ball, as it did open up momentarily for the strike from Dana Manak.
So I think Ellis and Sampson just got themselves in a little bit of a tangle, both going towards the same player, and it was almost the block by Ellis blocked her own player off, and it did just open. Bloomsbury not able to take advantage.
Portabella offloads to the right, then the diagonal across. Portabella still lurking in the centre. Long wins the kick in. Taken short by Long to Manak. Spins away from the pressure from Roden, and this is a corner. Manak retreats the ball and will take this for her side, Bloomsbury. Plenty of runners in the penalty area. It's set back for Aldine. Cross to Manak again. Just starting to stamp their authority on it a little bit now, Bloomsbury. They're calling calling Libby Wright, rather, the Cheshire goalkeeper there, into action.
Yeah, starting to play with more tempo. Bloomsbury, aren't they? And as soon as they do that, you have to feel it'll make life really difficult. Here we go. Good
There might be a
opportunity.
chance here as it breaks at the second post, and it's set back for the strike, but off target that time. Manak not quite with the direction. That's Bloomsbury's best opportunity so far.
And Cheshire have done really well to recover. Sampson first of all to get across, then Roden, and just meant that Manak had to rush that shot. But if Cheshire can play at any sort of tempo, sorry, Bloomsbury can play at any sort of tempo, makes life really, really difficult for Cheshire.
Poor pass, giving the ball away. Cheshire have it back. Forced back as well there was Sampson. Ellis. Well stole back in a promising area. A couple of runners to the left could have been used, but instead the direct shot to goal was opted for, and Portobello unable to hit the target.
Yeah, almost like a snapshot in a way, wasn't it? And that's what Bloomsbury had to resort to so far.
That one did take a nick on its way through. It's out of play for Cheshire's kicking on the far side, their wide left. It's been an interesting start to the game, Matt, and a tactical battle out there as well between the two sets of coaches.
Yeah, it's as we probably touched on beforehand. Richie Jones has been around the block. He's coached teams in the UEFA Champions League with Wrexham and Kefin Druids in the men's game. And what he's done is he's put his side out, even with depleted numbers here, with a clear game plan. And they're experienced, they're playing to it. And he's making life difficult for Bloomsbury. And with all their talent, they're going to have to find a way through. And it's not going to be easy. And I think they're finding that. Importantly, you're not seeing any panic from Liam Francis on the bench. He's not rushing into things.
That's a good ball forward to the pivot. Then bringing teammates into play, but the long ball forward is gathered comfortably enough by the goalkeeper right.
It's really good movement from Sampson, and I think it's the captain Davies. Yes, it was just to break that pressure and try and find a way out. Oh, good effort.
Corner here for Bloomsbury.
I think it's a really good save from Libby Wright.
Yeah, maybe just got fingertips to it as it was heading goal bound. It's set back there for Aldine. Breaks on the follow-up, and it's fired in. There's the game's opener. It's Portobello on the rebound after the initial strike from the corner. And Bloomsbury lead.
Yeah, and Wright will be disappointed with that one. She gets something on the first one, just sort of drops it into the goal area in a really dangerous position, and Portobello makes no mistake. Fierce strike, goalkeeper with no chance. That's 1-0 to Bloomsbury. It's a really good way of just getting themselves in front and now settled into this game, you have to feel.
1-0 then, Liam Francis's Bloomsbury side lead. Portobello opening the goals in this one. Long ball forward again, and latching onto the end of it was Manak. Just seemed to stumble over the ball more than anything else, but it was a promising position. Then out of play from Ellis, and some order restored.
Just take another look at this. So, well worked corner, but there, Libby Wright just has to either palm that one away from goal or try and hold it. In the end does neither, and it just drops in a really dangerous area, and Portobello punishes her for the mistake.
Portobello's third goal of the campaign. Her side, Bloomsbury, here looking to kick on and find themselves a second. Cheshire in a crowded corridor, and in the end just return the ball back to the Bloomsbury goalkeeper, Harkness Armstrong, and they can reset. 8 minutes played, 1-0 to Bloomsbury. Forward pass down wide. Wright was in search of the run from Salas. Cheshire with the kicking deep inside their defensive half. Oh, they've given it away as well in what's a very dangerous area. It'll be a corner, nothing more, but you don't want to be losing the ball in that kind of position.
No, got themselves into all sorts of problems, didn't they? I was just looking at the way they set up. They almost invited the pressure. There was nothing forward. Maybe a little bit of tiredness starting to creep in. And you can imagine, you're halfway through the first half. It's a long, long slog, isn't it, when you've got a small squad like this. Bloomsbury starting to smell blood.
Right across the face of goal, but nobody there in gold and black to turn it home. It was a teasing ball across, but nobody on the end of it. Right this time, bypass with the longer pass forwards in search of the captain Davies. Wasn't able to control it, and that started the transitional attack for Bloomsbury towards the second post and out of play.
It's just quality, isn't it, in the last third for Bloomsbury at the moment. They're getting into really good areas now, but just have to have a little bit of composure, a little bit of quality. There you hear Richie Jones's experience, just asking Kerry Sampson just to stay. She tried to break the pressure with the run, but that's allowed Cheshire to bring the game all the way up to the Bloomsbury final third, and here we see first line change.
Yeah, a change of the whole quartet for Bloomsbury. 4 players off, 4 players on. Bringing fresh legs to the equation, which is something that Cheshire won't be able to do. Aldine takes that one short to Scotland under no pressure. Scotland happy to settle for the kick in and see that one out on the far side from Ellis.
I think they have got to be patient. They're 1-0 up, don't get drawn into trying to rush things, panicking about anything. Just keep doing what you've been doing and chances will come for Bloomsbury. That's what they need to know. That needs to be the message from their bench. And I think you can see Liam Francis looks quite composed, quite happy with what he's seeing. He knows it will be more difficult than it looked on paper. And it's about them grinding this one out and grinding Cheshire down and then taking control when they are tired.
Appeals for handball, nothing given by the referee on the far side. And then subsequently blocked by the player who lost possession, Sampson.
Salas did really, really well to keep that ball in there. I think everybody else expected the ball just to go out of play.
Nearly a quarter of the game played. Bloomsbury leading Cheshire by 1-0. Came courtesy of Merce Portabella on the rebound from a corner routine in which the initial strike was saved and then parried out by the goalkeeper Wright. As here a timeout has been called by Cheshire.
Yeah, a smart one I think as well, looking to try and break the game down into 2 like quarters. I'd imagine he'll try and do the same thing Richie Jones in the second half and just break this down and give his team a breather halfway through this first half. Indirectly it obviously gives Bloomsbury a chance of talking through how they can break Cheshire down, because it has been resolute and they'll be really pleased with how they've played so far. I think it's patience, isn't it? Bloomsbury, we will see through this game, have lots and lots of possession. They just need to be nice and patient, nice and composed, and the chances will come. It's natural when you're playing against 6 players.
Coach Richie Jones getting the instructions out to his small squad, and there the buzzer sounds to signal the players back out onto the court. So we'll get going once more with the Cheshire restart from the goalkeeper.
Bloomsbury looking to press high and almost force the issue, aren't they? need to do things in the right way and not take too many risks, because there's experience in this squad that can punish them. Unorthodox right, almost fell nicely for Salas, I think it is.
Yeah, Estefania Salas there on the follow-up strike. It wasn't an orthodox style of save from right, but she saved it nonetheless. That one was anticipated by Roden.
You saw her experience, didn't you? I think that's where, from Bloomsbury's point of view, they just want Salas to be a little bit more smarter there and see that Roden's read what she was initially trying. The space was in behind her. Aldine, who I think they were looking to go and block, was actually in acres just on the edge of the D. Just feed the short pass in and try and work off her.
Aldine there flicking that one round the corner, but too much of an angle and far away from Paola Sanchez's run.
Oh, good ball.
Yeah, excellent diagonal. That's a nice set back as well. Davies trying to feed it forward to return the ball back to Sampson.
Yeah, they're trying to play when they've got it, aren't they, Cheshire? They're not just rolling over. Giving it as good as they can. It's just how long can this last with 6 players? It's a lot of effort.
Not quite the timing on that set piece, as it was too far ahead of the runner.
Just a couple of moments there where you're seeing tiredness start to creep in. First the pass that runs out for the goal clearance, and then that one there where Can was just on her heels and not able to gain that pass after Sampson worked really hard to win it back.
Roden. Good challenge. I suppose that's mental fatigue as well, isn't it, Matt, as well as physically. It's keeping concentrated for such a long period of time on court.
Probably more so mental fatigue. There's so many things happening in a game of futsal at all times that when you're playing in, normally you see teams playing sort of 4 or 5 minute bursts maximum. So to have such long stints on court is really difficult for players who just need that breather, need some water, need a chance just to get themselves out of the game.
This is promising for Cheshire. Oh, and it's against the post. Well, it really was a promising opportunity, and they've had 2 great chances now to get on the scoreboard. That time, Sampson denied by the woodwork.
Really good move, isn't it? Great passage of play, and yeah, Sampson did everything right.
Would have been a near perfect goal had the finishing touches been applied there. It was excellent build-up to create the opportunity for Sampson. Agonisingly close to levelling the game.
And those moments will be a real breath of fresh air for them. Show them they've still got a foothold in this one. They can still take something from it.
Take a look again at the replay.
Desperately unlucky, striking outside of that post. We said though, didn't we? I think we knew that even with the 6, it was going to be like this. It was going to be difficult, at least early on in this one. It was about Cheshire making sure that they took their game to it. They're a very experienced group that have played together for a long time.
Overturn on the kicking that came after Sampson just ran into a little bit of trouble, but not taken correctly over there on the far side, and it's overturned in favour of Cheshire. Lofted forward ball, but it bounces straight through to Harkness Armstrong. That's much better distribution from the Bloomsbury goalkeeper down course.
Really good hold-up play from Salas as well.
Oh, and an opportunity for Salas on the end of the move as well. Just scuffs the shot wide.
It's another clever ball from Helena Scotland, the Bloomsbury captain. Sanchez finds that second post area. Yeah, and Salas almost went with the wrong foot, didn't she? She naturally left-footed. Perhaps just needs to guide that in with her right and make sure she hits the target.
Not dissimilar to the chance that we saw for Cheshire in terms of the build-up play and quality of that, but not the finish to match. Final touch is just lacking. Good ball up to Aldine. She's happy to go back to Scotland and nearly took a nick on its way through from Salas, who tried to divert it away from the Cheshire keeper.
Oh, nice play.
Diagonal pass is intercepted there by Alding. Salas again with all the time in the world to pick out a pass, but that time can't find a teammate. Not quite on the same wavelength maybe as teammate Gemma Aldin. Sanchez. Ball. Nice lofted diagonal, was looking for Salas, and it's cleared away by Wright, who opted for safety first there.
It's a really intelligent pass from Paula Sanchez, isn't it? Realising there's not much space in the middle of the court, so go over the top of it and look to find a different sort of problem for Cheshire. Cause a different sort of problem, sorry. Didn't quite come off this time, but it's one for them to think about again. There we see that pass, almost just down the inside of the winger. It's been really difficult for Cheshire to defend so far.
Out of play, another Bloomsbury kick in, and incidentally, whilst you were speaking there, Matt, a whole host of more Bloomsbury changes with a new quartet back onto court to again keep things fresh.
And that's something that I'm sure Richie Jones, every time he sees that happening, just be wishing he could do that himself, because this Cheshire team have worked wonders so far with what they have. But if they could just have a little bit of a breather, I have to feel they'd be well in this game. Because at the moment, even though it is only 1-0, it looks inevitable that at some stage Bloomsbury will add to that lead.
Cheshire with the goalkeeper out of the regular position again. She comes under pressure that time, managed to just about tow the ball back to the fix. Forward from Sampson, but to nobody in particular, and Bloomsbury with possession again. Not to try to kick-start the counter, but then happy to just slow the game down.
It's really good movement from Portobello just to open this left-hand side up.
Here is Portobello, the goal scorer. Fired across, and important interception because Portobello was lurking towards the back stick.
Good moments these for Bloomsbury though.
They'll be looking for a second goal before the interval. It's lofted there for Manak.
Good defending from Ellis, wasn't it? She read that nice and early, what Bloomsbury were looking to attempt. Shows that they've done their homework. Good ball, really clever ball.
Crackman. Forward there looking for a teammate, but it's out of play again. Bloomsbury, contrastingly to Cheshire, looking to really step onto their opponents and win the ball back high in dangerous areas. They've done so through the kick in, as then it's fired goal bound by Crackman. Crackman well positioned for the interception. 3v2 if they can work this right. It's well intercepted by Cheshire's defender Ellis. Positioned herself perfectly. Portobello sets it back to the strike. It's Crackman. What a goal that would be. Goalkeeper's out of net. Crackman manages to bundle it home. Well, not quite the prettiness about it that it could have been had Crackman scored at first, but Bloomsbury really won't care. They double their lead, 2-0.
It became a really good move into just something that was all about Hannah Crackman's determination, wasn't it? Lovely reverse, like back-heeled pass there. And then these two challenges, Crackman just knew she wanted to win them and made sure it gets a goal that she deserved, doubles her team's lead, and gives them some breathing space. Fantastic goal from Bloomsbury's point of view in terms of the move, and also from the players' point of view. Lynn Francis will be really pleased to see that determination, won't he?
big goal in the game perhaps to put distance between the two teams on the scoreboard and just give Bloomsbury a cushion and make them feel much more comfortable about things. It was pure determination from Hannah Crackman, having seen the initial effort blocked.
Libby Wright getting herself into some trouble here in this.
She's given the ball away with the net empty. Bloomsbury played across. How has that not been turned home? Well, that's a huge let-off for Cheshire. They survive a big scare. It really should be 3.
It should be. Wright got herself into all sorts of trouble, just trying to almost draw a foul, I think. Yeah, they've got to score there. Tessa Long has to hit the target.
But still it's Bloomsbury who are asking the questions and causing more of the problems. And here they're looking for their third. Will they get it this time? Around the goalkeeper, a brilliant goal. A well-worked team move, and it's finished off. And that is number 3.
Yeah, and Tessa Long does well. Makes up for that miss just a short while ago. It's a lovely little give and go after our own dribble through. But I think this is where you're really seeing that mental fatigue we spoke about, Isaac, coming to the fore. Wright, first of all, getting stuck on the ball, trying to do something that she wouldn't have done earlier in the game, and then Cheshire just not quite having any energy in them to step onto Bloomsbury as they've done all half, and just allowing them that room to go and play. That's breathing space though, and with 4.5 to go in this half, they'll look to kill this game as quickly as possible.
That'll certainly be Bloomsbury's intention. Can they find more goals before the break? Davies with the kick in, right out of goal again. Sampson there felt she was fouled, but nothing forthcoming the way of the officials. It's another overload chance for Bloomsbury, and it's turned in this time by Hannah Crackman. She's bagged herself a first half brace, and that's 4 for Bloomsbury.
And again, very similar to the last goal, wasn't it? It's fluid, it's quick, and it's really, really precise from Bloomsbury. As soon as they win the ball back, they've got one thing on their mind, and they flood forward in a wave, and Hannah Crackman is on hand at the second post just to guide it home. Fantastic team goal, one Liam Francis will be really pleased with. Bloomsbury showing a clinical side.
Yeah, Bloomsbury there with bodies streaming forward in a way that Cheshire weren't able to get bodies back behind the ball defensively. 4-0 and still, well, now just under 4 minutes to play in this first half, looking to make it even better, and they do there, Bloomsbury. It's Dana Manak, the number 6, sneaks the ball past right at her near post.
Real quality finish. Can't quite see on that angle. I'm not sure if it takes a deflection or not. Here we have a look. What a lovely touch inside. And it either takes a deflection or goes through Helen Cahn's legs. Either way leaves Libby Wright with no chance.
Yeah, I think it just took a nick off Helen Cahn on the way through.
Fantastic individual goal after 2 really good team goals from Bloomsbury. Just showing their quality.
And this now is threatening to be a long afternoon for Cheshire. Good turn by Portobello. Long. Bloomsbury looking a relentless mood as they go in search of more. Round the corner again, it's broken back again, it's very scrappy again, it's across to be finished off in the end by Tessa Long. 6-0 to Bloomsbury, and we're still inside the first half.
And that is another example of mental fatigue and people doing things that they wouldn't normally do. Libby Wright seems to have that under control, just needs to bend down and pick it up, doesn't, toes it away, and suddenly it ends up with another really well-worked goal. And Tessa Long's just able to guide it home.
Given away again, and this is the moment when Richie Jones will be wishing he had another timeout card to place in. Just want to get through to half-time with as little damage done as possible.
And this is why Bloomsbury needed to be patient, and this is why Liam Francis will be so pleased with the way they've approached this game. They've not been rash, they've waited, they've been really, really patient, and then when they've had chances,
Right out of goal again there, and it's a
foul as
late
well.
lunging challenge. There might be subsequent punishment as well.
I think there will be, yeah. She's completely out of control there. There'll be a yellow card. First foul of the half, though. Something Cheshire have done really well. She was nowhere near the ball, was she?
Yeah, not really leaving the referee on the near side, Ollie Rodriguez Ballinger, with much to decide there, and the Cheshire goalkeeper becomes the first player cautioned. Sanchez to Salas, Scotland to Sanchez. Momentarily with a footing was her opposite number Roden, but Sanchez restored the situation.
The foul. Yeah, Roden just got drawn into that challenge, realised she overcommitted, almost had to foul.
A couple of fouls in quick succession, back end of this first half. Moment's respite for Cheshire, having been on the wrong end of a storm of Bloomsbury goals. Right, Lewis Shodine desperately trying to win the ball back. Cheshire kicking. Ashley Lewis Shodine, the ball just bobbled away from her initially, but great strength shown to win possession again. Aldine just checked back, then lofts the ball forward. We've seen it a number of times in this first half of Bloomsbury, the chipped, lofted pass.
Yeah, they know that Cheshire are well organised and covering that middle of the court, so looking to go over the top of it. And also what that lofted pass does give is a chance for the players who are coming onto it to run onto the ball. It's relentless pressure, isn't it, at the moment from Bloomsbury, keeping Cheshire penned in. It's almost wave after wave of attack.
Aldine looks as though she was fouled there on the edge of the penalty area. She was. Near perfect position for this free kick.
Good area as well, isn't it? What can they work here? Really difficult, because you imagine Cheshire, as they have done, Libby Wright setting a team up pretty much on the goal line. Sanchez and Salas over it. Good save.
Salas, the left-footed option, did take that, and it was turned behind by the goalkeeper Wright.
You can see why she took it as well, actually, because Wright just took a step to her own left and left a little bit of a gap. It's a good save.
Sanchez. Aldine. Back to Sanchez. Closing 80 seconds of this first half. A half-time that can't come soon enough, really, for Cheshire. Bloomsbury, they'll want it to continue as long as possible. Continue in the same vein that we've seen them perform at, the same quality of performance as they've shown so far.
Yeah, they'll be wanting a nice quick half-time break, won't they, regardless? Get this game back underway as quickly as possible. Cheshire will try and stretch things out as much as they can.
Bloomsbury then in search of goal number 7 before half-time.
Been really impressed with how Bloomsbury have approached this, and just really difficult challenge, isn't it? Not just for Cheshire with the 6, but for when a team is being so resolute and so determined to defend a certain way. You've got to be patient, and it's very easy to get carried away and almost drop your standards, and what they've done so well is maintain standards, be really patient, and look to create clear-cut opportunities rather than forcing things. And you see the Birmingham players in the stands still watching on. They're here for one reason. They know what a threat this Bloomsbury team are to them this season.
Yeah, as you rightly point out there, Matt, some of the Birmingham players in the stands on the far side, off the back of the big 7-1 win over Bolton. "30 seconds before the break, given away there to Aldine. Cheshire really need to retreat back quickly and get back and support defensively. It's Lewis Shodine. And it's out for the... going to be a corner. Just though it might have taken a touch on the way through, or potentially off the other leg of Lewis Shodine.
Good save, really good save. She has genuinely done well, Libby Wright, at times. Yes, made a couple of errors, but there's been some really smart parts of her game as well to help her team out, and they need that. They need to be able to rely on their goalkeeper when they're in this situation.
Just under 3 seconds left on the clock. This, you'd imagine, would be a set and shot for goal. Cheshire, as they look to try to get on the scoreboard before half-time, but they don't. There the buzzer goes. And it is, so far, so good for Bloomsbury. 6 goals up with 20 minutes played. Still 20 more on the cards for us when we return. But at half-time, it's Cheshire 0, Bloomsbury 6. Let's then take a look at some of the key moments from the first half.
And this is that first goal, isn't it? And when Libby Wright looks back at that one, she'd really want to just hold on to this first shot. It's straight at her, isn't it? It's quite comfortable from Crackman. But once it does drop, Portobello makes no mistake. You don't save that one from that sort of range.
Yeah, pounced upon the opportunity and fired home. With venom behind the strike there, Portobello, to open the scoring. The second was scored by Crackman. Pure determination to bundle the ball in here, Matt.
Could have been the best goal of the half. Turned into probably the scrappiest, but was also so good from a coach's point of view to see that determination from his players. And Crackman really epitomising that. It's a lovely reverse pass from Portobello, isn't it? But then there, to go through those two challenges and be the strongest player on court, is really important. This is where Cheshire sort of started to fall apart, and we saw a couple of really good moves. Firstly, Tessa Long made up for the miss just a short while before this. Lovely wall pass, lovely give and go. It's an easy finish, isn't it? So is the one before.
Yeah, took the goalkeeper out of the game there with the pass to bypass Libby Wright. Just a simple tapping in the end.
This one very similar, just the opposite way round. This time Long becomes the provider. Is Crackman able to toe in at the second post? Her second of the game, and a really good finish. But again, it's waves after wave of attack from Bloomsbury as they really started to smell blood.
And then a great individual goal, this time from their number 6, Dana Manak, sneaking it past the goalkeeper at the near post.
Yeah, lovely turn inside onto her left foot, and then just happy to take the strike. I'm not sure whether there was the nick or whether it went through Helen Can's legs. This angle might confirm it. Either way, left the goalkeeper with no chance. I think there is a slight touch, isn't there? And then here, Cheshire got themselves in a mess, and Bloomsbury took full advantage. Long composed, receives the ball back from Manak, and is able to just slide it home.
Yeah, another close range finish for Tessa Long to bag herself her second of the half. 2 for Long, 2 for Crackman, and then a goal apiece for Manak and Portobello as well. So that's how we stand at half time. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back for the second half. Welcome back then to St George's Park, where at half-time Bloomsbury find themselves 6 goals to the good with an excellent first half display against a depleted Cheshire side. And it's a difficult ask for them now, an uphill mountain to climb in the second half for Cheshire. Bloomsbury will look to kick on and score as many goals as they can, Matt.
They will, yeah, they'll be looking to build on it, won't they? It's a really good opportunity now for them to get themselves back on top, assert themselves with big goal difference, and really take this chance to put a well-organised Cheshire team to the sword. Cheshire will be hoping that the half-time break can just give them a chance to regroup. They showed glimpses early on in the first half, didn't they, of threatening, if they were only glimpses. It's so tough with such a small squad to go and impact this in any way.
Yeah, well, barring the comeback of all comebacks, then Bloomsbury will be heading back to the top of the table. We have 3 points at the end of this one. You feel that the game's long gone now for Cheshire, but it's about playing with pride in this second half. Bloomsbury with the ball.
I think pride's the key word, isn't it now? It's about, for Cheshire, keeping that score down, just realising that they've travelled what, hour and a half to come and play. So just make sure that they assert themselves on this and don't make life too easy for Bloomsbury.
Poor touch there from Wright. Gifts the ball back to Bloomsbury by virtue of the kicking.
She does something really well, Libby Wright, and then at other times just gets herself in a little bit of a mess, in a bit of a panic. And she just needs to be a little bit more assertive in those situations. A good player as well as a good goalkeeper, someone who can come and play and can come and join in. Just needs to back herself a little bit more.
Do you think we'll see Cheshire look to try and change their tactic from the first half, Matt, and step up the pressure higher up the court, or do you think they'll remain to their game plan and just see this as a damage limitation kind of second half now?
I think it's damage limitation. I think the most, if they kept the score at this level, or they got 1 or 2 on the scoreboard by a couple of breakaways or in transition, you might see them in sort of the last few minutes go and try and do that. But it's very difficult when you've played a game for so long in a certain way, especially when you're playing so deep and defending quite resolutely deep, to try and step out without making errors. It takes a lot out of you playing so much of the game without the ball. I suppose the only good thing about it is when you're in this situation where you set off quite deep, the clock runs very quickly, so the game seems to be done a lot quicker than it would do normally, and that's what Cheshire will be hoping for. I think they're in a battle against the clock as much as anything, aren't they? I don't think they'll be complaining if third official Will Thompson forgot to press stop.
Out of play for the goal clearance down to the left of the main camera position, and Bloomsbury get the ball moving once more.
It's really easy to forget they did hit the post early on.
Yeah, and they had the opportunity with the chance for Roden as she went sliding in the back stick. The opportunities were there for them.
They were, and it is literally a case of they've just run out of steam. I think they've performed really admirably early on in this game, and then given everything that they can. And as the game's gone on, it's just been a real mental challenge for them to try and assert anything into this.
Bloomsbury in possession. There's Portabella, who got the game's opener. Back to the number 14, there's Portabella, now Long. Looking for Portabella there, that time Chelsea Perry with the pass.
It's really good from Long, that is fantastic pressure. Just what she did really well was cover the ground really quickly, and it was always textbook pressure defending, because she slowed down as she got in there, didn't foul, didn't overcommit, and was able to force Cheshire out of play.
Might maybe open up for the shooting chance again here for Bloomsbury. Out of goal was Libby Wright, and she made good contact with the ball to put it into touch for the kicking.
Yeah, good goalkeeping, decisive, taking control of her goal area. Bloomsbury's movement has been very, very good in these sort of high areas, looking to create spaces. Again, good defending from Sampson.
Right there with the long throw out, but couldn't find a teammate.
Yeah, very much one-way traffic, isn't it? Again, similar to how we saw at the end of the first, well, most of the first half. This will be about Bloomsbury just being patient again and waiting for those chances.
Bit of a lacklustre error in possession and an acknowledgement of that.
Just tired legs, isn't it? Really, really tired legs. Long, long way to go in this half as well. They'll be watching that clock so closely.
Scotland on the spin, managed to get the shot away towards goal, but it was blocked.
I think it's Lewis Shodine actually with Scotland who played the ball in, isn't it?
You're correct, yeah, it's Ashley Lewis Shodine, I beg your pardon, with the effort.
Real good opportunity. Very similar players actually. In the way they play, and Helen Scotland playing a really different role in this Bloomsbury team this year, playing at the base of their shape all the way through and looking to almost go and orchestrate the game. That's good from Salas. Again, just maybe be more positive there though, and go 1v1 rather than turning back. See why she did it, but at 6-0, go and engage and go and try and get that shooting opportunity.
Cheshire kicking. Davies played the pass to where Tina Ellis had moments before retreated back from, and it's out of play. We're still as we were at half-time in terms of the score. 6-0 to Bloomsbury as Lewis Shodine lurking in a dangerous area again. Ellis trying to weave through, but only running into traffic in the form of Bloomsbury defenders. This is Scotland forward for Lewis Shodine. Seeing so much of possession now, probably even more so than they did in the first half, Bloomsbury, since the restart. There's a runner over to the right. And Shodine sets it back for Salas. Scotland. Forward ball for Salas. He's asking a lot for her to control.
They're trying though, they're probing, aren't they? And I think Liam Francis won't be too disappointed by the odd overhit pass, things like that, when they're trying to do things the right way.
Long throw out now. This is an opportunity for Cheshire to perhaps find themselves a consolation, but that's superb defending. Back there on the cover, Helena Scotland, the captain.
It is fantastic defending. So just for a split second, it opened up. Thought Alice Hartnell was going to have something to do. She had very little in the game so far. Helena Scotland on hand.
Yeah, Harkness Armstrong has had limited opportunities to showcase her goalkeeping abilities, to say the least, but she's a very experienced, good goalkeeper that Bloomsbury have recruited this summer, isn't she?
Really good addition, isn't she, to this group. We saw at times across the course of last season they were very transitional, weren't they, in the way that in the odd game they could compete, they could match anybody, and then on another day they would be totally out of it. The first thing they've done is go and recruit in the summer a really experienced leader and goalkeeper, and it's a foundation for them to build on. Add to that a couple more new faces into a already really talented squad. A couple of really strong overseas recruits, and they've got one hell of a side together.
Yeah, and plenty of players battling it out for positions in the matchday squad as well. Rosanna Frisch-Salem not involved today. She was signed from Loughborough. That's another opportunity with the goalkeeper out of net. Scotland across the face of goal, and it was touched on the line by Lewis Shodine. It may have crossed the line anyhow. Either way, Bloomsbury score and they have 7.
I think it's already gone in, but it's very, very instinctive from Lewis Shodine just to get something on it. Fantastic flowing move again. Salas, textbook pivot play. Scotland overlapping, really good strike, and we couldn't really see because of Ollie Rodriguez Ballinger, but either way, we'll give it Eleanor Scotland, I think, but one or the other of them has scored to Bloomsbury's first goal of the second half.
Yeah, it did look as though the ball had crossed the line before the touch from Lewis Shodine. I think that'll go down as a Helena Scotland goal. 7-0. Rolled out by the goalkeeper Harkness Armstrong. Aldine across to Scotland. Salas holding off the defender in the form of the Cheshire captain Davies. A lot of time on the ball in a attacking position, and that's become a feature of the game for Bloomsbury when going forward, and Cheshire becoming ever the more tired. Here's the replay of the first goal of the second half.
It's another well-worked goal, isn't it? Okay, we had a little bit of a joke about how it did cross the line, but the actual move is fantastic futsal from Bloomsbury again. Good defending from Sanchez.
Yeah, Sampson robbed of possession. Sanchez has it back again.
That's good from Crackman, really good, because just at that key moment there, they just needed to put their foot on it and just take control again.
Crackman finds herself eventually bundled to ground by the corner of the court. Final touch off the Bloomsbury player, so it is Cheshire's kicking. Just being brought back to the precise spot by the referee on the far side, Sophie Jackson, as Cheshire maybe look to steal a couple of metres. Good challenge by Sanchez as she stepped in to win the ball back. As that handball, it seemed to strike an arm.
I think there's a shirt pull, a handball, and then Bloomsbury will have been looking for the advantage as well, because as we see here, there's a shirt pull in there, which is, I think it's the first one against Sampson. That could be a handball, but then, yeah, you have to say Bloomsbury would probably want the advantage there, wouldn't they?
Well, they've worked the free kick nicely and then bundled goal bound again, but out of play. I think the final touch came off Manak.
Another nice little move, and then, yeah, she kind of lost her balance, didn't she, as she was shooting? You see, she rolled her ankle, a little bit of pain, I think. It's a good save from Libby Wright in the end.
Yeah, corner given. I initially thought it would come back off Manak and out of play, but the referee's much better positioned. Now then, a breakdown court for Cheshire, but prodded wide of the far post.
Yeah, good breakaway from Sampson. Did really well here just to stay composed and try and get something. Just couldn't quite force a save from Harkness Armstrong.
Bloomsbury still with their clean sheet intact, at least for the time being. Crackman just took a heavy touch at a crucial moment. Two goals in that first half for Hannah Crackman. couple for Tessa Long as well. Manak sees the ball taken away from her by Ellis. Ellis against the legs of Manak, then ends up down on the deck. The long ball forward was the decision opted for, but it's back with Bloomsbury. Nice pass if she can keep it in there, Sanchez. She managed to get something on it, but only to tow it into touch and concede the kick in.
I think she realised in the end she wasn't getting to that, so rather than let it roll out for the goal clearance, just tow it out for the kick in, allows Bloomsbury to come and put pressure on, and they've won the ball back inside the Cheshire final third.
So they've taken that kick in quickly. Turned behind by the right foot of Wright. Corner for Bloomsbury as the four outfield players dart off court, much to the dismay there of the Cheshire captain Jade Davies, who's asking the officials to start the count.
I think she's got a point, hasn't she? It's okay making line changes like that, but you've got to be about doing it quickly. Sometimes a little bit too much time. More experienced referee would probably, than Sophie Jackson, would probably have started that count there. Perhaps that's where just look to Oli Rodriguez Ballinger for a little bit of guidance for her, because you can understand the frustration.
That there was a nice interchange with the give and go, but Sampson unable to pick out the pass.
And there's been times that they've played some really nice stuff. Cheshire, they've approached this game really well. It's just hard, isn't it, with the small squad to get any sort of foothold in there, but they've defended well, they've been resolute when they've got the ball, they've looked to interchange nicely like this. Davis and Sampson have both had good opportunities. We spoke earlier about the one from Roden where she should score at 0-0. Just a real difficult day with such a small squad.
Approaching the final quarter of the game, just over 10 minutes left to play. Set back there maybe for the shot to goal, instead it comes across to Tessa Long, looking to work the angle to get the shot in. Nice control by Davies, returns the ball back to Sampson. Now then, is this the opportunity for the consolation that Cheshire are looking for?
The referee's got that one wrong as well, and that's a goal clearance. Last touch, to me, appeared to come off Sampson, but referee giving her the benefit of the doubt. Powerful running though, isn't it? Lovely little interchange, and yeah, as we say, last touch did come off Sampson, but Rodriguez Ballinger gives the corner. Again, good defending from Bloomsbury. Need to stay alert. They'll want to maintain that clean sheet if they can. Good from Portobello, and Salas stepping onto the ball really quickly, snuffing out any kind of danger, any kind of threat. Good save.
Yeah, palmed behind there by Harkness Armstrong for the corner again.
I always think from a goalkeeper's perspective there, if you're not sure, just make sure in a way, and that's what she's done. Get something on it, make the save.
And that's a better stop from Harkness Armstrong, probably the best that she's been forced to make yet.
It's a really good stop, isn't it? Just for a split second it opened up, and then Roden should hit the target with the second one. She's had Cheshire's best two chances.
Yeah, still without a goal though, Cheshire. Salas Looks to strike it on her left, and it's turned behind via the save from Wright. Corner here for Bloomsbury. Portabella might open up for Long to strike. It's deflected that time. The ricochet took it gratefully into the path of Wright, and then trying to volley the ball goal bound was Chelsea Perry as it dropped from the sky.
Somehow that chance stayed alive for Bloomsbury, didn't it? It's a really good save from Wright in the end. And then it was like nodded back towards their own goal from Cheshire. Well worked set piece, nearly created something.
Kicking that time taken back for Bloomsbury. It's a nice ball through to cut through the first line of Cheshire's defence and break the line, but then the strike's off target by Perry.
Really good ball through. Yeah, Tessa Long in that pivot position. That's the kind of pass she wants to be receiving. Gives her every opportunity to turn and go herself or bring others into play.
Referee Sophie Jackson there just taking the opportunity to adjust the goalposts and bring them back to the exact correct positioning. Good call. Cheshire kicking. We've got 8 minutes and 44 seconds to be precise. Still to play. Perry battling hard, full possession, holding off the defender well. Portabella. Good defensive intervention that time by the captain Davies, and in doing so she wins her side the free kick.
And a breather with it. Good, really good defending from Davies, yeah. In quickly. Just snuffed out any opportunity, but they've given the ball away, and here's Portabella.
Now it's poor at the back. It's gifted the chance again for Bloomsbury. Managed to somewhat recover the situation, but concede the corner.
Yeah, once they've got that breather and they've worked that opportunity to play out, they've got to be better in those situations. We understand that it's difficult. Just have a little touch more composure. Oh, good save.
To the back post, and it was very nearly headed home by Tessa Long. Don't see many headed goals scored in futsal, but it was a...
I'm not sure if this is what Chelsea Perry meant, or if she was just trying to smash it across the goal. But she gets a lovely scoop lofted ball. And yeah, Tessa Long forced a good save from Libby Wright. It's the best chance for a while, actually, for Bloomsbury. The game seemed to have gone a little bit dull.
Aldine. Back to Scotland. Bloomsbury here looking to make sure that the game doesn't go stale and they can add further goals before time's up. They were 6 to the good at half-time, just a single goal scored in this second half.
Easy one for the referee to give there. Roden coming through the back of Crackman.
Yeah, that's the second foul on the board against Cheshire in the half, so there was just one foul given for the previous, where it was the tug back on the shirt and the advantage before a potential handball, but just one foul given there. So Cheshire move on to 2 with that latest infringement. Scotland.
Looks like a corner to me, yep. Took a deflection, well worked. We know Helena Scotland's got a fierce strike, so important that you defend them properly. Cheshire almost man marking from these set pieces, aren't they? Happy to leave the Bloomsbury's deepest player free and just try and protect the area. Slightly unorthodox, slightly unique way of defending from corners, but for the large part it seems to work for them.
Both coaches still with timeouts if they want to use them in this second half. We saw Richie Jones use his in the first period around the midway point, but we've surpassed that now in the second period.
Yeah, I think he's probably just wanting to get this game over and done with to a certain extent now. Delaying it for his players won't do them any good, will it? And another breather might not actually be the best thing for them.
Aldane twists and turns back inside.
Nice, really nice. Good play as well.
And to wriggle her way through there was Ashley Lewis-Shodine. Managed to do so and prodded the ball goal bound, and then she's penalised for what's judged to be a bit of an overzealous challenge.
It's a painful one for Tina Ellis, doesn't it, that? Lewis-Shodine just appeared to be quite strong. We take another look at it. She turns well initially. It's a good save, and then as it bounces back, she's on her feet quickly, trying to win that ball back. Yeah, just a little bit stronger than Ellis, I think. Perhaps caught a little bit of her ankle as she's come over. She's certainly in a lot of pain.
Yeah, Lewis-Shodine seemed to catch the standing leg there of Tina Ellis.
I don't think it's a foul though. Do you? I just felt like she was much stronger than her opponent. As much as you don't want to see a player get hurt, so you don't want to see fouls given for something that aren't fouls.
Yeah, the referee did award the free kick, so that's what we'll restart with. When you'd imagine the substitution would be made here if Tina Ellis seemingly down in pain. You do hope she's okay.
They've got that breather without the timeout.
Yeah, it's a timeout. There's not a timeout, isn't it, in a situation like this? And I think you can see from the mood there of the Bloomsbury camp, Matt, just how happy and content and pleased they are with not only the scoreline, but I think their performance as well.
Yeah, confident, aren't they? Really pleased. They'll be really happy with the way that they've approached the game, the way they've managed what was a difficult situation early on for them, and they've come through it with flying colours so far. 7-0. Not much of a threat posed against them, and they look like, as we saw at the end of the first half, they could yet have a spell in this where they could score more.
Yeah, and for a side that struggled to score goals last season, Bloomsbury, we know they've changed a whole host of players with a number of astute additions across the summer, but it's really changed for them. And plenty of goals scored today, with 7 against Cheshire so far. Tina Ellis is back up and walking, which is always a good sign, albeit gingerly, as she's replaced off court. Wish her all the best, of course.
Looks like her day's done, which makes things even harder for Cheshire in the final 7 minutes of this one. You could always count on something like that happening, can't you? In these situations, good defending from Sampson. Lewis-Shodine again trying to use that power. She's a big, strong, physical presence in that pivot position when she's on court for Bloomsbury.
And to be fair, it's probably had a relatively quiet game compared to what we've seen from her across the games she's played already this season as well, Ashley Lewis-Shodine.
Yeah, agreed, definitely. She's not actually played that many spells. It's been a different kind of game though, I suppose, hasn't it? It's what we've seen from her early on. It's been more of a game for the likes of Long, Portabella, who those little intricate touches that they want to get in and play. Lewis-Shodine wants that ball to feet, wants to play in areas where she can use her pace and her power.
Across there from the kick-in, but to nobody in gold and black, and it's out of play from a kick-in for another kick-in. Sampson. Davies. Davies with the forward pass, but to nobody in a navy blue shirt. This game now then just somewhat dwindling to its conclusion. We know the result of the game with Bloomsbury having wrapped the 3 points up long ago now.
Going back to the top of the table, of course, unbeaten so far this season, proving to be the team to beat. They'll be really happy with their afternoon's work.
Oh, long-range strike, and it's evaded the goalkeeper, and that's a completed hat-trick for Crackman. One that Libby Wright won't want to see back with the strike from so far out. There's 8.
Yeah, and it's probably the first time all game that Cheshire haven't put pressure on the ball inside their own half. And Crackman punishes them with a really fierce strike to round off her hat-trick. Good afternoon for her so far. She's proved to be a really, really smart addition for Bloomsbury.
Yeah, 5 goals now so far this season for Hannah Crackman. It's really good going at the start of the fresh campaign.
Just take another look at it. You see, they just didn't put enough pressure on the ball. First time they've done it. It's a fierce strike, isn't it? I think Wright just got her ankles wrong. What matters for Bloomsbury, they'll be pleased.
Long. Manak. Long once more, looking to try to work the ball down the line and bypass the defender, but heavy touch takes it out and behind.
It's another good game, hasn't she, Tessa Long? We saw that miss before she did score, but then from that, really asserted herself on the game. Some really nice, intricate touches.
Yeah, she made up for that miss of the golden chance in front of goal with a goal not long later, and then followed it up with a second from close range as well. Whitehead shakes. Across the face, a goal, and there's Paula Sanchez. From what, less than a metre out, Sanchez with her first and Bloomsbury's 9th.
You could see how pleased she was to get on the score sheet as well. Another really well-worked goal. Manak finding herself in this bottom corner by the corner flag, just slides one across goal, and Sanchez is at the second post just to guide it home. We've seen 3 or 4 from Bloomsbury where they've scored like that. Really well-worked goals, really pleasing goals from a coach's point of view. I have to feel now with just over 4 minutes left, there may come another onslaught.
Yeah, well, Bloomsbury will be in search of double figures now, just one away from that. And they might get it here through Manak. Just lost control of the ball beneath her feet. Free kick given for the foul there. Cheshire with a moment's respite again, although they take the free kick somewhat surprisingly quickly given the situation. Manak with Bloomsbury bodies streaming forward again. Might be another opportunity, bypassing the goalkeeper once more. That's an excellent, really calm in front of goal. The composure to play the extra pass and then the extra one on top of that as well, and Whitehead shakes, becomes the latest scorer.
It's another fantastic team move, isn't it? Lots of composure from Long there, from Manak there, and then a really good finish as well, just to guide it home. And they're really pleased, you can see, to get different players on the score sheet. Whitehead shakes, very new to this group.
10-0 then to Bloomsbury. Yes, you're reading that one right. Timeout called by Cheshire after that goal went in.
yeah, perhaps just feeling Richie Jones that they need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather, and just a regroup. Just in these last few minutes, down to 5, remember, because of the injury for Tina Ellis, has no chance of freshening up what is on court. Real difficult moments for them.
It doesn't get any easier in terms of the fixture schedule as well for Cheshire, because they'll be up against the table toppers from last season in London Helvetia next.
That's their home round as well at Northgate Arena. So really tough one for them. You just hope that being at home gives them the opportunity to get a few more bodies into the squad.
Bloomsbury, on the other hand, they'll face Hartbury in their next fixture. Hartbury, who we saw beat Southampton earlier on today by 9 goals to 1. It's miscontrolled by Sampson, and she can count herself fortunate that she wasn't right in front of goal when that happened.
Again, it's that mental fatigue, isn't it now? We see uncharacteristic mistakes from experienced players at long stints on court.
Sanchez looking for Manak. Corner. Bloomsbury looking to further worsen the pain and inflict even more on Cheshire.
Really good challenge from Sampson.
Sanchez. Time it's saved by the keeper.
You hear the shout there from Liam Francis on the bench. Just take your time.
The block was there, played by Sanchez, as she opened up the angle for the shooting chance. Questions being asked as to whether that was a foul, and done so in a way which should have been given a free kick against Sanchez, but wasn't given.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, between a block and a obstruction. I think the key thing is, for it to be a block, you've got to go and stand your ground. What you can't be doing is, as the player is there, you can't be moving forward once that ball's in play. I think that's what Richie Jones would have been saying there, is he probably felt that there was a little bit of forward movement on that. Rodriguez Ballinger giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, it's a mistake at the back, so another lapse in concentration perhaps, as Sampson's robbed of possession, but managed to just hold up Bloomsbury long enough for at least a single defender and goalkeeper right to get back.
Cheshire really tired now. You can see it, and just the way that they're playing, they need this ball to stay in play and this clock to run down as quickly as possible, don't they? It's good from Sampson though.
Fed across there looking for Roden. Was Kerry Sampson. So set piece for Cheshire.
Good opportunity just to try and build something. Try and give themselves something to shout about. It's well worked. Really well worked corner. Helen Cannon looking in here. We see that line change again.
Yeah, 4 more substitutions for Bloomsbury. Expect that this outfield quartet will now see what's left of this game out, the final 2 minutes and so. With Shodi. Salas just miscontrols.
game really petered out now, hasn't it? In terms of both teams, I feel, just trying to get themselves towards that final whistle. Bloomsbury will have wanted double figures. They've got that. Cheshire, tired, desperately tired. You can see it in their body language. Just want this game over and done with, and as much as they can, take as much pride as they can, which I think they have to from their performance so far. Again, Lewis Shodine really strong, and Helen Cairns took a little bit of a whack in the sort of coming together there. Nothing deliberate in that, but
yeah, there's a player who's gone down here for Cheshire. The referee's attending to that injury over on the far side. Maybe just a trailing arm catching in the eye, perhaps. Davies sets it back, but Roden was initially looking to go on an overlapping run. Into the closing minute. Out of play for the goal clearance. It's been a great display for Bloomsbury, Matt. 10 goals today, and you've got the tough task of picking the player of the match.
I have. It is quite a tough one. There's been some really good performances, hasn't there? Tessa Long, Merce Portabella, both been exceptional. Big parts of whatever Bloomsbury have done well. I think after a hat-trick similar to in the last game, Hannah Crackman deserves it. Fantastic display from her. Composed, controlled, showed quality as well. And has put a team in a really, really good position after just 4 weeks of this new season.
Yeah, 10 goals today for Bloomsbury. And that's if they aren't to add another before the time's up. Could Cheshire get themselves a consolation that they've been trying to find ever since the closing stages of the first half, never mind the second, really?
That was really, really tired legs, wasn't it? You could see from Jade Davis there. She got herself into a really good position.
Salas, 12 seconds, just wayward of Lewis Chaudenet, but then the player of the match, Hannah Crackman. 3 goals today for her, takes her on to 5 for the season, and Bloomsbury have scored 10 today in the space of this 40-minute match against Cheshire. It's been well and truly one-sided, and a difficult day at the office to say the least for Richard Jones's side. There we are then. The buzzer sounds at St George's Park to bring to a close this game and bring to a close the day's action in the Women's Tier 1 of the FA National Futsal Series. And it's double figures for the league leaders Bloomsbury as they've beaten Cheshire by 10 goals to 0.
It's a really good performance from Bloomsbury, isn't it? Just to round off their really assertive display so far this season. They'll be really pleased with what they've done, and just to leave themselves top of the table after this round. As we head into December, they're in a really strong position with a really tough challenge coming up in their next fixture.
Bloomsbury 10-0 winners then. Let's take a look at some of their goals. These are the goals from the second half. They'd already scored 6 by this point at half-time. Maybe a question as to the goal scorer of it, but I think it had crossed the line, hadn't it, Matt, with Scotland on the score sheet.
Yeah, and he's a really good player, isn't he? More than anything, a really good overlapping run. Salas, textbook pivot play, and yeah, again, Lewis Shodine following it in the right area. Why not make sure? This was a fantastic strike. As much as I don't think Cheshire have done themselves any good really by sitting off first of all, and then goalkeeper Libby Wright just not really committing to the save. It's a fantastic shot from Crackman from distance. No less than she deserved.
Yeah, that one rounded off Crackman's hat-trick as the player of the match. This goal number 9. On a few occasions with the goals that Bloomsbury scored today, they bypassed the goalkeeper right, left with absolutely no chance when the ball passes her, and then the tap in. We saw a number of goals not dissimilar to that in the first half.
Yeah, really good team goals, aren't they? Manek with a perfectly weighted ball, and Sanchez in the right area at the right time. This one very similar, composure, first from Long, then from Manek. And it's a really smart finish at a very, very tight angle.
Yeah, scrambling around all over the place there, the Cheshire defence desperately trying to stop what was an onslaught from Bloomsbury. That one finished off by Jasmine Whitehead Shakes with goal number 10 to take them into double figures as they gather for a team photo at the end of this game. Final score, Cheshire 0, Bloomsbury 10. Let's have a look then at the league table following that result, with Bloomsbury's fine start to the season confirmed. 100% record with 3 wins from 3 and a goal difference of +16 as well. Such a promising start to the season for them, Matt, and now the task is for them to continue that and follow it up.
They've got Helvetia next, so it's a really good opportunity for them to continue to build, continue to show what they're about, but they've put themselves in a great position. After 4 rounds of fixtures, their 3rd game, to be top of the table, 100% record. It's a really good start for Liam Francis' side.
Cheshire, having shipped 10 goals today, on the other hand, they find themselves with the worst goal difference in the league. Just 3 points so far this season. Not gone the way that they would have wanted it to.
No, and I think it really shows as we look at the scores on the table there. Both Southampton and Cheshire are in for really, really tough seasons, aren't they? It's really going to be really hard work for them against some real quality sides and some sides that are really starting to move forwards with the game. And you've got the likes of Birmingham, Hartbury, Helvetia, Bloomsbury, all investing a lot of time and a lot of effort into building really good clubs. Some of these teams just are going to struggle to find their feet at this level, and perhaps are in for a really tough one. Maybe, though it's early days and they won't want to admit it, just dropping down into that 2nd tier might help them long term.
Well, there then are the 3 results from all of the games that we've seen played live at St George's Park today. Hartbury beating Southampton by 9 goals to 1 to get the day's action underway. Live on BT Sport 1, we saw Birmingham beat Bolton by 7 goals to 1. Last year's champions with a fine win there. And then in this closing game, Bloomsbury well and truly on top, a one-sided display with a 10-0 win over Cheshire. Thank you for joining us today across the action. We'll be back tomorrow with more in the men's Tier 1 of the FA National Futsal Series. Join us from 10 AM tomorrow morning live on BT Sport 1 as Bloomsbury's men's team take on London Helvetia. From me, Isaac Barrington, and Matt Hardy alongside me. Thank you. Goodbye.